I spoke to at a school um, probably a couple months ago, month and a half, and I love this part when I get the question and answer.
Yes.
The young lady asking me, she asked me, what would you say to people that have self-doubt in their life? And I just explained to her that, oh man, uh, me being an introvert, but my passion allows me to come alive.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have to learn, like, man, get over yourself. It ain't about you, bro. Like it ain't about you, right? So in any situation I am, if I know that my experiences can be of benefit to others, bro, I can't keep that to myself.
Right.
I got to share that with some people. And so my passion allows me to dang come alive, and I love it, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm in my lane doing my thing. And so that's what helps me.
All right, we are here in Conroe, Texas, with Chip Baker and EJ McCoy. Chip, thank you so much for being a part of this one. We are excited to be in here. We just spent a little bit of time in Crosby. We went and did some off-roading. That was super fun. Didn't break anything. I was surprised. I thought we were going to break at least one thing. But we had so much fun, and we were able to line this up for you to be here and a part of this. So thank you so much for being here with us, man.
Oh, for sure. I'm glad that y'all were able to make it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that y'all were able to make it back.
It was touch and go for a second. When the Jeep got back on the road, we had a bunch of mud all over the tires, and so it created this wobble.
Yep.
So we briefly thought we might have a mechanical issue.
You
You were going to have to come out to the, what was it, Extreme Adventures?
Extreme Off-Road Park.
Extreme Off-Road Park. Yeah. It was fun though.
That's awesome. But yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to it. We've done some content before, and I had a great time, hanging out with you. And so, man, I've been excited to get the chance to hang out with you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Chip, would you mind sharing just a little bit about yourself, where you're located, what your business is, what it is that you're into?
So I am Chip Baker. I'm a fourth generation educator, teacher, former coach, and blessed and fortunate to be raised by some great people, as well as being around some awesome folks to learn from throughout my career. Man, I'm in my 25th year in education. I coached for 20 of those years. And so it's been a neat journey. About 8 years ago, I started my YouTube channel and podcast, The Success Chronicles. And what I do is I just interview people from all walks of life and share their stories for positive inspiration and motivation. That's how I came across this guy. And so I do that, love sharing stories, love connecting, love meeting great people, love learning. And so I've been doing that. And then about 5 years ago, started writing books, became an author. And man, where I'm from, I didn't grow up with a lot of people that wrote books. Actually, I didn't know anybody.
Yeah, I don't know anybody even now hardly. I know a few. But.
Right. And so, just like a real book, EJ, like a real book.
Yeah. Like the kind that I have to get audio because they're too long for me to
like you open it up, it's like a real
the actual paper.
Yeah, like a real book. Yeah. But started writing books, man, and to the date, I've been a part of or published 17 of those. And so, man, it's been
You say you've published 17.
17
And that
books,
just started
man.
5 years ago.
Yeah, 5.5 years. And so it's been a neat journey. I tell people sometimes, I'm two E words, excited and exhausted. Because
That's every entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's the entrepreneur life, right?
Yeah.
Just excited about, the journey, grateful for it, but also, man, it's exhausting. I'm grateful for that too.
And so you've been doing this all while being a full-time educator.
Yeah.
It hasn't stopped. Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a grade that you've been teaching throughout your entire career, or is it kind of jumped around?
Mostly high school. When I first started, I did junior high for 3 years, but then from there it was all high school.
Yeah. What did you coach?
Football and powerlifting.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my sports.
What positions did you coach in football?
So, man, in junior high you do it all.
Yeah.
Right. So everything, but my emphasis, man, I was a longtime O-line coach, special teams coordinator, and then later in my career I did outside linebackers.
Yeah. I was an inside linebacker for a very short period of time.
I played football in 7th grade just to get it out of my system. And I say I played, I always joke I was one of the kids that wasn't good enough to actually play, so I was a practice dummy. And during practice, for all of the guys that could play, you get to have a lot of fun tackling me.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. I was a hockey player.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
And I played I played ice hockey most of my adult life too, in an adult league, until this last August. I broke my leg, my shin bone, in a game, and I'm retired from hockey. But I've never been somebody who watches a lot of sports. I like to play sports. There's not really a sport I don't like to play.
Right.
There's also not really a sport I love to watch.
Yeah, I think a lot of times that's like we talked about the similarity with the entrepreneur. I think a lot of top athletes are like that as well.
Yeah.
You know, that's like even like when I coach, like, man, I don't want to watch football. You know, like
really. So a lot of
coach,
athletes that you've coached, they don't watch a lot of.
Because you're so busy too.
Right.
And a lot of times, like when you get time off, you don't want to do your work.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm curious. You said 5 years ago is when you started writing, and this started to take off for you. What was it that pushed you to say, "All right, I'm going to now go and start doing all of these things"?
I just think opportunity, and I believe that opportunities bring opportunities. Yeah. And what I mean by that is, this is good. I think your ROI determines your ROI.
Yeah.
Right. So what I mean by that is, I believe that your radar of influence determines your return on your investment, and inversely, come on, your return on your investment determines your radar of influence. And so I say that because
builds upon it. They build upon each other.
Right. And so, like, I was coming in contact with amazing people. I mean, this is prime example of that. Because I started the podcast, because I interview great people, I met a cool dude, that has a business, and now we're here doing a podcast. Yeah. So I mean, that's prime example of what that whole journey has been for me. And so, when I wrote my first book, I interviewed a guy. We hit it off. He's a pastor, speaker, big time speaker from the DC area. Okay. He asked me. He was like, "Hey, you ever thought about writing a book?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I thought about it." But what I didn't know is like he and his buddy, they own like a self-publishing company, and they taught people how to write.
Right. So they taught people the
processes of how to do that. And so, my first 2 books were co-written with him. And so he kind of walked me through that process.
I was going to say, did he teach you? I was going to ask that. Yep. He taught you through part of his program.
Right.
But that's how you learn, because that's the piece that I struggle with. I don't write. Right. I mean, I have a hard time. I used to be better at typing out long emails but even these days, if it's more than a few sentences, I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, man.
And so this was just, how did you create, because you had to have the will too. How did you create the habit to write that much in the last 5 years from, like you just learned it in the last 8 years, as this connection?
Well, it's exactly
this
what
relationship.
You said. It's a habit. Just like you said,
how'd you build that habit?
Any reps, and just like you're in the weight room, reps make you better. I can't go in the weight room and look at the bar and expect to have big muscles.
Right.
I can't pick up a book.
If I could, I would.
Oh yeah, a whole lot of people would. I can't just pick up a book and touch it on my head and be smart. Right. Like you got to put the dang work in, and it comes by developing your habits. And so, being an educator, being a speaker, being a coach, I had those habits of preparing. Right. Really, I've been doing that stuff for a long time. It's just a matter of putting it down on paper and putting it in a book. Because my life, I've been doing that.
Right.
And so it's just a matter of tapping into those transferable skills.
Did you start doing it daily? Did it become a weekly thing? Was it a daily thing? Or did you just sit down and you were able to
just smash
knock
it out,
out
man?
Stuff out?
Yeah, like I'm like there are people that I know that like write like daily.
Yeah.
They have those routines, but like for me, that's not my style. My style is really, knowing where I'm going with it. And then as I'm going, man, thank God for technology, because then I could, just dump stuff out.
Right.
And then I go back and then I organize my ideas. Then I piece it together.
So you're doing a digital. I can totally relate to that, because I oftentimes, when I do type stuff out, when I'm thinking through stuff, I always tell Ben, I get my best long emails done, like the things that have to really be thought out when I'm on flights,
Yep.
when I can't be
Yep.
distracted, when I have nothing else to
Yep.
do.
Yep.
But I always find myself copying and pasting and changing things around. And I'm like, I could not do this if I was doing this on paper. There'd
No.
be a lot of rewrites, a
Yeah.
lot of erasers.
I think it's and that's some of the tips that I've shared with people too. Like, we all have a phone. There's always some downtime when you're sitting, hanging, waiting for something. And so, like, I'm a person where now, like, I know that I'm gonna be writing. I know I'm gonna be speaking. So like, I have a heightened sense of awareness.
You're looking through a lens of
Yeah,
how,
of,
like, you're
of,
going to
of
use this.
yeah, of life lessons that I can share. And
That's
so,
what I gotta get. I gotta get better practiced at that.
Yeah.
I
Which
feel
I
like
think you are. I mean, I was telling Brent earlier, this past yesterday, it's been a long couple of days. Yesterday, you mentioned it, like, about your YouTube following, that is a focus for you to grow. And I've seen it in the way you talked about it, like in the look in your eye. Like, you're a lot more serious about it now, and I think you're starting to have a mindset shift of that's a focus for you. And so I think you're going to start looking through a lens of how can I focus on growing that, and you're going to start doing a lot of these things, and there will be a byproduct of it. But
to grow it, I have to get better and create habits. Going
Yes.
back to that, I've
Yes,
got to
yes,
get better at getting my thoughts that are up here. My thoughts. I mean, I've got lots of opinions.
Yeah.
I want to, but it's about getting them, communicating them in a way that people are engaged and understand and can maybe agree or disagree with, but it's a respectable way.
Right.
Trying to figure out how to communicate that. As much as I feel like it's in here, it's in my head, getting it out there. So
you said the first books that you wrote, the co-author was teaching people how to write. Like, what was maybe one or two things that you took away from that time that you spent with him in the early stages of writing?
Oh man, that's a whole other episode. like I learned so much. I think the biggest takeaway for me was that he just made me aware of skills that I already had that I wasn't aware that I had that I could use to that, right? And there's transferable skills. I mean, like, I learned how to write a paper, like, in school.
yeah, that's.
I mean, like,
when you was assigned to you in school, no
like,
problem. I can knock that out on the due
I've
date.
done research, my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, I've wrote down ideas. I've been doing that.
And I think, like, it just made me think of, do you know who Alex Hormozi is? Hormozi? He's an entrepreneur, but the books that he's written, they're interesting because they're almost written like textbooks, and there's sketches of things that he has drawn out. There's emails that he has written, and he's literally just puts that in his book. Like, so talk about transferable skills and being able to apply in various ways. I mean, you can take emails that you've written, and there's a way to organize it, but yeah, it'll take some work, especially with your emails.
I was gonna say my emails aren't very organized. Once they're done in my inbox, or my snooze, they're gone. They're missing.
Yeah.
What was the name of your co-author?
Shout out to Dr. Oliver T. Reed. Yeah,
Okay.
man, great guy, man. Yeah,
And
he's a pastor.
yeah, pastor, speaker. Man, he's philanthropist. He's done lots. So
That's awesome.
I'm grateful to be connected with him.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what was the name of your first book?
So growing through your go through.
Growing Through Your Go Through?
Yes. None of us are immune from growing through tough things.
Going through stuff and having to grow through it.
But what you have to do is have the awareness to learn the blessings and the lessons, because now you can take those and use that, not just use it for you, but it allows you to be more of a benefit for others.
Yeah.
And so when you do that more often, you get more reps at that. Now you're, like you talk about, you're walking, you're living a life where you're looking through the lens of, okay, how can I learn through this and then use that to help others?
Yeah, absolutely. So I imagine the last 8 years, and as you've gone on this journey from starting a YouTube channel, you said, to learning and writing and co-authoring, how have you applied that to your teaching, your students? I imagine that's had a huge impact.
Oh,
I'm telling you right now, I wish I was back in high school and in one of your classes.
That's awesome, man. It's inspiring. It's inspiring to me because it shows me that bigger and better things can happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not much of a talk about me kind of guy, so a lot of the times Like I don't just say, hey guys, I do this. You know, I'm not that kind of guy.
Right.
You know, like they all find out like from somebody else, like, Coach, you got a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know it's cool, right? You're like man, we was watching you interview Mike. Yeah, I know it's cool, right? And so just some of those things, that's how it's been for me. But it's also shown them that great things are possible. And that's what it's about for me. Like it's about, like I love the fact that I'm hopefully the example.
Yeah.
Right, and I strive to live in that manner on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I can very much so relate to that. In my journey, just
Yes.
starting a YouTube channel is like, okay, there's a reason to do it. I would prefer to be low key. I'd prefer to be low key, but I got to figure out how to get out there and build this thing.
Yeah.
Because there's a purpose behind it, and it's to make a difference and to talk about the American dream.
Yep.
But there's also a benefit to me. There's a reason we do what we do in the sense that we want to professionalize the industries that we're in, and we think we have a lot to offer in that.
Yeah.
We've got to go and get the word out on that, and it is very unnatural. Like you say, if you're low key, it's unnatural.
You got to work at it
to go out. So you don't necessarily. Other people find out, at your students and such, so they figure it out and go through it. But you don't necessily. You're not blasting it, trying.
No, like
how do you walk that line? Like, how do you go find that balance between being just overly, what's the word, Ben? Publicizing, shamelessly self-promoting. How do you find that balance between shamelessly self-promoting all that you do with your YouTube channel and your publishing versus being much more low-key? How do you find that balance?
I think naturally I'm a low-key guy. Right, like I'm an introverted cat. Like I don't.
But you want people to listen and hear you. And
I do, and I think the reason I do what I do is because I want to make a positive impact.
Yeah.
So those moments when I see that it can make a positive impact, then that allows me to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and get out of my shell.
Yeah.
And then be aggressive and say, hey, I got something I think you want to check out.
I'm still working on getting out of my shell and being a little more aggressive in that, so to speak.
And that's how it is. Like I shared this clip on I spoke at a school probably a couple months ago, month and a half, and I love this part when they get the question and answer.
Yes.
The young lady asked me, she asked me, what would you say to people that have self-doubt in their life? And I just explained to her that, oh man, me being an introvert, but my passion allows me to come alive.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have to learn, like, man, get over yourself. It ain't about you, bro. It ain't about you. Right? So in any situation I am, if I know that my experiences can be a benefit to others, bro, I can't keep that to myself. Right. I got to share that with some people. And so my passion allows me to come alive, and I love it, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm in my lane doing my thing. And so that's what helps me.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's interesting what happens when you stop thinking about yourself in the situation and you start thinking about how what you're doing and the things that you're focused on can have an impact on other people. And it's dropping the expectation that you have to reach a certain amount of people. And it's just about the one conversation. Like, it's really interesting what happens to your brain, in my opinion, of when you flip that switch, is just helping the person that's right in front of you. And then that goes on. Sorry, go ahead.
Maxwell talks about that. You ever
yeah,
followed John
big.
Maxwell or
Love
read?
John Maxwell.
He's what is it, 80 something books or something like that?
200. Yeah, like it's stupid.
A few years ago, we went to his conference and did the John
Florida.
Maxwell. Yeah, the John Maxwell.
I think it's going on right now, actually.
Is it really? It's every 6 months or so. We went to the one in the fall, or closer to the fall a few years ago. But that's what that reminds me of. Is what he talks about as well. Is directed at the people you're talking to. It's not about you. And admittedly, I struggle with that. I've got vanity issues just like so many others do. But so it's a matter of practicing and becoming more self-aware.
I know for myself, I've been talking to you about this. I've been, at first, John Maxwell, I was really hesitant with him, only because growing up in the church that I was in, I got really hurt by that church. And there was this mix of manipulation of people and their emotions, and then there turned out to be a monetary gain from that. And so anytime there's a mix of faith and business or entrepreneurship, I get real hesitant towards, right? And I've come a long way recently in knowing that it's not like these two separate things. My faith is in all of it, and my focus is not about gaining something from someone. It's about adding value to people, and that's just the thing.
Yeah, now you're talking my language. I think it's important to have the pure, honest, good-hearted intentions.
Yeah.
Right. And if you can start from that place, people see your heart.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna do things the right way. But without a shadow of a doubt, if you know Chip Baker, you know for sure he gonna give you everything he got. You can bank on that. Like you better believe like whatever it is we doing, if Chip Baker's involved in, you can bank that he gonna give me everything that he got. You can bank on that. And so like I may make some mistakes, I may drop something on the way, but you have no doubt. I mean, that dude, he giving all he got. I can work with
Love
that.
it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go
Go
get it.
Go get it. Yeah, go get
Let's
it.
go.
Go get it. Tell me about this. Is a brand of yours,
Yes,
right?
that's my thing, man. I believe that no significant success, keyword significant success, significant,
Yeah.
right, is gonna just come to you. I believe you gotta go get it and make it happen.
Right. You got to seek it out,
Oh, without a doubt.
or it won't come.
Without a doubt.
Is that from a book? Is that something
Oh, you might see that in a couple books. You might hear that after every time I speak. You might see
Go
that
get
on
it.
everything
Love
I
it.
got.
Love
That's
it.
my thing, man. You have to go get it, man. It really just started from positive self-talk,
Right.
and it came out, and I was saying it, and then people start saying it back to me, and now it's a thing.
Yeah.
Go get it.
So you mentioned earlier you're a fourth generation educator,
Yes.
and so you were brought up where you mentioned your parent were teachers. And
Yep. So
grandparents are teachers, and so
Mhm.
my wife comes very similar background.
Yeah.
I think she was like a third or fourth generation
Oh, that's
teacher as
awesome.
well. So is that what kind of led you into that education world, obviously?
Yeah.
And how did you discover your love for that?
So I think a couple things. I'll just go back to faith too. I come from a family of I'll tell you this, church folk. and
Yeah.
and educators. And so man, I was raised by that, so within that there's discipline.
Yeah.
Within that there's service. Within that there's getting over yourself. It ain't about you. Within that there's hard work, that's treating people right, that's doing things the
Yeah.
right way.
Athletics.
Yeah, and so and really like that was so my mom, grandmother, great grandmother were educators.
Okay.
I mean,
awesome.
long time retired. Those people that even when they retired, they were still at the school.
Right. Yeah.
They never. But then my mom was a minister of music in our churches, and then my grandmother, separate places. She was a minister of music in her churches that she was around as well. So man, I'm
Is this
just,
all around the Houston area, or?
So I grew up in Hearn, Texas, which
Okay.
is over close to Bryan College Station.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's my hometown where I was raised. I was born in Dallas.
Okay.
My dad's in South Dallas. Went to
Yeah.
all my dad folks went to Lincoln High School.
Okay.
My parents separated when I was 4, and so we moved to my mom's hometown of Hearn, and that's where I was raised.
Okay, so that's around Bryan College Station. See, I haven't spent a lot of time in that area. And it's not far from here, right?
No,
I mean,
it's probably about an
30
hour and 15. Good place to take the Jeep. It's some good
nice.
it's some great RV stuff out there. Good. I'm just going to
Okay.
going that way. Yeah, but just to get back to your question, man, they inspired me. Just to be able to watch them on a day-to-day basis do what they did to take care of people and just love people. Man, that was inspiring. And then the big thing is to see how, we would go places in the town and people would see my mom and they would just smile. She wouldn't even
Right.
see them and they would just, just smile.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that is
I had a
that
mom
is
like
cool.
that too.
Right? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, man, that is.
She was known in her community.
Yep.
She was known to be somebody who helped.
Oh,
Yeah. I love
Exactly right. So you know what I'm talking about. And so, man, she did so many things, amazing things in the community. And then, I started playing sports at a young age. Played 4 sports for 4 years in high school.
Did you say what sport? What sports?
4 sports.
4 different sports. So you played football,
basketball, baseball, and track.
Okay.
For 4 years in high school, and then
I did all of those at least 1 year except baseball. My dad wouldn't let me play. The one thing he didn't want me to play was baseball because it was always in the summer and he didn't want to have to do anything in the summer.
Yep.
It was, and Annie, I don't think you really like baseball very much.
Yeah.
Speaking of baseball, I went to my son's first baseball game last night, actually.
That's awesome. That's good, man. But
as fun as it is to watch him play, I remember why my dad didn't really want me to play baseball. It's not my favorite sport by any means, but
you don't want to watch baseball.
Yeah. So what's your favorite? Is football your favorite?
Oh yeah, football is my favorite, man.
Do you watch sports? Are you somebody you follow it?
I do. Like when I was playing and coaching, I didn't watch as much, because it needed to get away. But once I stopped coaching,
so you follow
I've gotten back into.
So are you a Texans fan? Are you a Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean I grew up Cowboy.
Okay.
Wanted to be Tony Dorsett. Take you back. I grew up a Cowboy, but being in the area, of course, root for the Texans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a good year this year, didn't they?
They did.
I only follow from afar, so I can just talk enough. But they had a pretty good year.
They had a great year. It was exciting, man. We actually went to a couple of games, and the atmosphere, the vibe.
Oh, good.
Man, it's live out there.
I've only ever been to 2 NFL games ever, and one was a Texans-Colts game here in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been to, even though I'm from Dallas and Cowboys, never been to Texas Stadium or whatever it's called.
Really?
I'm calling something that existed 20 years ago, but AT&T Stadium. But never been there.
That's an experience, man. You need to check it out.
Yeah, we're supposed to do that for Father's Day, either Father's Day or birthday coming up, because my father and my father-in-law, huge Cowboys fan, never been to a Cowboys game. So that's something we're going to bless them.
Got to do that. That'd be awesome.
So, what's the book that you're working on right now? Do you have one?
Yes. So we are in the process of working on the Impact of Influence, Volume 7. So we are, the book series. We're on the 7th one, and we'll drop that in April.
Now, these are, say 7 books. How big?
How big are these books?
so they're, I don't know.
Are these quick, easy read kind of things, or are these like?
The cool thing about the Impact of Influence is it's powerful info. I brought together powerful influencers. That's about service. That's about helping. They're just telling their story of people or situations that they've been in that have influenced them, and how it's impacted them, what they learned from it, and then how they're using it to be a blessing to others in our world. And so, man, it's so good because like I put it together. And I'm saying, man, it's so good.
So So you these get published on different I don't even know that much about how books
so
they go on Amazon and it's paperback, audio too, or just paperback.
So we have digital. We have the ebook and paperback, so you can do either.
Okay, so now I'm kind of going to just nerd out about just authorship here. Do you actually read the audio, or do you have somebody do it, or how does that?
No. We haven't done audiobooks for that because there's so many people, and this is my personal thing. When I purchase an audiobook, I want it to be that person. Right. And so what I've done personally is I've taken the first 5 chapters. We have chapters in the book.
Okay.
So my chapters from the first 5 books. And I've done an audio of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you eventually going to do? I would love to. Absolutely. That's awesome. But you'll eventually do more of them, or is it just a process?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's. I'm definitely going to strive to do all of that.
I imagine that's not very easy to audio record yourself reading your book.
You know
especially with all the.
It's crazy because it's really tough.
Yeah.
Man,
Plus, I'm a slow reader. Even if I wrote the words,
man,
I don't know. I'm a slow reader. You're gonna have to speed it up 2 times just to follow along properly.
The beautiful thing they can fix all of that stuff.
Right.
You let those people do that stuff. They do that work.
Good point. Clearly, I don't know anything about that stuff either.
But man, when I did it, I was in a studio deal, and it's crazy. I was reading, and I did this on my pants.
Oh, and you can
and I
hear
could
it.
hear it. And I was like, man, that's crazy. Just the quality of, I just ran my hand down my pants I could hear it.
We were testing podcasts, Ben and I, just this past Friday on the bus, and we had the microphones, and I said the same thing. I was like, you could literally, like, I could go like you touch that and you could hear it. It was so sensitive. I don't know how you that's almost too good audio. It picks everything up. Brent?
Y'all sound great right now.
I love not having to have those big ugly headphones.
Yes.
So you said you just spoke recently?
At a school, yeah.
Is it a school, right? Yeah.
Just talking about the situation, the question and answer. She's asking about the self-doubt, and I was just sharing that, we all are one of one. And so when you realize that you're a one of one, then you don't worry about self-doubt, because you know that the big man has made you for a certain purpose.
Yeah.
It's just our job to figure out what that is. And I call that being in alignment with your assignment.
Yeah. That's good.
I like that.
In alignment with your assignment.
Come on.
I've always been, I was taught being in alignment, but I've never heard that. I love that. Be in alignment with your assignment.
So do you have a few canned speeches, keynotes that you are generally talking about? Like, is there a consistent theme that you're trying to communicate?
Yeah, just anything, all things taking from my life experiences, things I've been blessed to experience. Big thing now for me is the impact of influence. That's my book series. So I always talk about tips on, how people can influence others. So yes, I do keynotes, all that. It's funny because just a year ago we were talking about the Cowboys, and I was blessed with the opportunity to speak at Cowboy Stadium.
Really?
They do a Texas High School Coaches Association. They do this really cool mentor program. They call it the Rock Mentor Program. I was the keynote speaker for that, and it was at Texas Stadium.
That
I'm
is
talking
so
about
cool.
like full circle moment, man. Just to
That's huge.
like, oh man, it was awesome. Like just to go from being a guy I grew up in Hearn, Texas. EJ, man, I grew up in Hearn, Texas. EJ.
It's just a little speck, right?
Yeah,
just
man. And so, man, just the journey of being there and being able to pour into coaches and at the Cowboy Stadium, man, it was an amazing experience.
How'd you get that opportunity? Was
Man,
that
I
just
don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out, dog.
So they just found you and asked you?
Yeah, so just with my social media, people see my stuff. I speak.
Yeah.
Coaches, teams. I do all that stuff all the time, and so just connected with me and just had the opportunity to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I was recently asked to speak at a tech company's summit, and people keep asking me like, how'd you get it? God just said, here you go. I did not plan it. I got an email out of nowhere, and I was like, oh yes, let's go.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't been paid to speak yet, but that's okay because my fee's a lot higher than I'm probably worth anyway. So at the moment, I gotta get some practice going.
I love it, man. That's so good.
I mean, you spoke.
I spoke twice.
Yeah,
I haven't been paid yet.
Yeah, but you're building your reputation.
Yes, no, and it's definitely an interesting experience that
It is.
humbled me a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to definitely be, and again, it was good, but it's humbling to
It is.
recognize.
Like you said, like it's one of those things where you have to have those repetitions, and it's really difficult in these speaking gigs. If it's something like being a public speaker, something you want to focus on and be really good at. Unless you've got them back to back, it's really hard to, in my opinion, like you get into a good rhythm and get into a momentum of learning.
But I also was on crutches. That was.
Oh wow.
It was so I had to stand up and like sit down and.
I thought I was going to give him sympathy, but that's not how it worked out.
But like we were talking about, it's not about the speaker; it's about the audience, and
Right.
that's once you figure that out, it's a lot more
Right.
comfortable up there. I just haven't figured that out yet.
Speaking to youth, like your general audience that you're speaking to, or is it range?
It ranges. I think, man, I do. Basically, it starts from me sharing from my experiences on athletics, leadership, education, teamwork, team building, all of those things that I have experience in. Because I think it's not genuine for you to speak on stuff you ain't experienced. Right. And so, like, I can only give you what I've seen. I can only share with you what I've experienced, and so that varies from teams, groups, corporate, You know, I've done some different things, like keynoted, like I said, the Cowboy State. I mean, it's all over.
Right.
Just opportunities, and it's been cool.
I love that. Is there anything next? Like, what's next for Chip and all the things you're doing?
Man, I'm just trying to go get it. No.
More books.
Yeah. So working on volume 7, like I said, we're dropping that coming in April. Really focusing in on, want to do more corporate speaking, leadership development, training there. So really being strategic about that. But that's what's coming next, man. Continue to do the podcast, continue to strive to help.
So you mentioned leadership development in the corporate sector. Is there any gap that you're seeing that you could fit? Like anything unique that you bring to the table that is going to impact the corporate environment?
Oh yeah, I think that kind of like we talked about earlier in the interview. We all have gifts, talents, that special gift, that special talent that the big man is given to each one of us. And my talents are different than yours. His talent is different than yours. Your talent is different. So we all have unique talents and abilities, but it's our job to tap into that. And so that's kind of my mission, man. I take care of people that take care of people, right? And so I do that by providing them a heightened sense of awareness to let them understand that and give them the tools to help them develop that. And so that's really what I'm all about. Just sharing with others, encouraging, empowering, pouring into, transforming, right? I want to make sure that, when you have experience with Chip Baker, when you leave, you're a better person.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot. I heard this recently in regards to like, what does prophecy mean, like in the church? And I've always had kind of a skewed version of what does that mean. And I heard it articulated recently that prophecy is this culmination of understanding how the world works, not being in it, but understanding how it works, and understanding God's vision, and being able to combine those two things together and being able to articulate God's vision for you inside of this macro level world in a very different sense. Like it spoke to me. I feel like I still have so much to learn, and to be able to like combine those two things together to be able to impact someone. It sounds like that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, in alignment with your assignment, right? Being in alignment with your assignment. And, as a young guy, like I said, coming from a family of faith background, I would always hear, people talk, it's a calling.
Right.
To be great at being a great educator, it's a calling. I didn't understand that until I got into it. Yeah. Because just like anything in life, you see people that are good at things, you see people that are bad at things, you see people that are excellent at things, and it just looks smooth, right? But that's their thing.
They're
their
in alignment. They're in their alignment.
They're in alignment with their assignment. And so, that's what it's been for me. It's just been a great career. It's been a great life. And I'm grateful for every ounce of it. And I'm striving to give every ounce of what I've learned as well. So not just go get it, but go give it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. I like that second piece of that. That's good. Speaking about living in alignment, every time I get asked to send an email, I don't feel like doing that. It's not what I'm gifted in, sending emails all day.
Are you directing that at me? Because I do tend to tell you to send an email quite frequently.
I'm just
But you got to coordinate these kinds of things, and you got to do it a little bit so that when we're training somebody to do it, you know how to train them.
Yeah.
It's a season. Even when you're not. I had to do it, and I'm not very good at any of it. I had to do a little bit of it, but at least long enough to where I could find somebody else to do it. Know what I was hiring for.
There you go. What you're looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Chip, tell us where we can find your books, people you're associated with, your socials, things like that.
So all of my social media is at Chip Baker TSC, as in The Success Chronicles. All of my social media except for Twitter, and Twitter or X is at Chip Baker 19. And so, man, I love for people to just go check it out. The same, like everybody says, like, follow, subscribe, comment, all of those things. That's fine and all. But for me, if you go in there, you see something you like, I just ask that you share it with the people that you love and care about to hopefully make their world be better.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it.
So we always like to, as we're starting to end here, you've said so many things that I think are like hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you would want to leave our audience with? Like one final message, one note. So our audience is entrepreneurs that are out there. They could be young, they could be old, but they're trying to improve themselves, add value to other people. Anything else that you'd want to communicate to them?
I think what's really on my heart right now is people understanding the value that they have. So many times we get in our day-to-day grind, our day-to-day rut, and we forget that like just by showing up with a smile on your face, you make a difference.
Yeah.
Right?
Just by smiling.
Yeah, like
Just your facial expressions.
yeah, I'm not asking you to even pick up anything or do anything. Man, show your butt up, smile, have a great attitude. Man, the world, if everybody does it, the world is better right now.
Yeah.
Right? Because what happens is, man, that's like that becomes like contagious.
Yeah.
That becomes infectious. And so now everybody is good and smiling with a great attitude. And now we're productive and we're a better place.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to leave people with. Just know that whoever you are, wherever you are, regardless of what you've grown through, you have value. Believe that and go get it.
Awesome. I was going to say, go get it.
Go
give it.
And go give it.
I love that, man.
Yeah. Thank
I
you,
love
man.
it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Would you mind if I prayed us out?
Yeah, please.
Let's do it.
Heavenly Father, thank you so much for building this connection and bringing us together. This has been such an incredible time of getting to talk about you and what you have provided us in your word and how we're able to translate that into real life and to adding value to people. God, thank you for Chip and who he is, how you have uniquely wired him to speak directly to so many people in a way that they are leaving better than when they came in, and they get to hear what Chip has to offer. God, I ask that you would continue to bless his authorship, the people that he's co-writing with. God, would you continue to prompt them, to inspire them through your spirit, God? Would you give them more so they can give more to other people? Thank you for all you've done. Thank you for this time. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks, man.
Love it, man. That's good.
Awesome.
That was
man.
all right.
Thanks,
It's good
Chip.
for you?
Absolutely, man. That was
All right.
awesome. Absolutely.
Good, man.
It's a pleasure.